Mangalam Kosalendraya Mahaniya Gunatmane Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam. Last class we had some general introduction about the great epic Ramayana. What prompted sage Valmiki to compose this great epic of 24,000 slokas? He composed it in 1 week. 24,000 slokas epic in 1 week. From that we can understand that it was not human genius, it was superhuman, and it was divine only who actually took sage Valmiki for instrument and gave us this great epic, the Ramayana. If you just look at our lives, there is a Ramayana going on in every family. There is a Ramayana going on in every organization. There are so many roles in Ramayana. We all know the characters there. Manthara, Kaikeyi, Mother Kaikeyi, Lakshmana, Bharata, Dasratha. Different roles. In our lives also, we come across all these people. Different people prefer to play different roles. Some prefer to play the role of Manthara. Some prefer to play the role of Mother Kaikeyi. Some prefer to play the role of Dasratha. Some prefer to play the role of Bharata, Lakshmana, like that. Some prefer to play the role of Rama. Of course, the role is not for many. But that role is not for many. If everybody wants only that role, we all know that actually Rama is our hero. Given a choice, what you would like to play? What role you would like to play? Everybody says Rama. Okay. There is a drama, there is a director, and he wants to give you a role. He will ask you to choose from these roles which role you would want to play. Every one of us will choose only the role of Rama, right? But that role is not for many. To play that role is not that easy. You have to have absolute detachment and absolute renunciation. Then only it becomes possible. So it's not easy to play the role of Rama. So we can place ourselves in his shoes and experience how we would react in such a situation. So last class we had this general introduction. The Ramayana is too long an epic, and it's not possible to cover all the episodes. If you have to go in micro detail, it would run for years together. I'll be only talking about Ramayana and Ramayana. You may feel a little bored because Swamiji is speaking of the same topic. So we will only look into the important aspects of the great epic, what lessons we can draw. But when you know that it's all, of course, is a drama, the great drama, the pain will be less. But when we play our roles in our lives, most of the times we forget that we are playing our role helplessly, and we have to act according to the great director, that is the Lord. You forget that you are playing a role when you forget the director. When you are always conscious of the director, the Lord, who has created this universe and has given us some role, you only have to look into how best you can play your role. The moment you forget that it is drama, the moment you forget that it is director who is acting you to play that role, suffering will come. You will take the role too seriously. The moment you forget that it is drama, suffering comes. Inevitable. So, we know the story. Now directly we shall come to Ayodhya Khanda, Balakanda. All the 4 princes grew up We know that Vishwamitra takes Rama and Lakshmana with him to save his yaga from those demons. Rama kills those demons, and then afterwards Vishwamitra takes him to Mithila. Rama breaks that great bow, Shivadhanas. Then he takes the hand of Mother Sita in her marriage and comes back to Ayodhya. Days were going smooth. But those, happy days are always few. The tough days have to come. That's how actually the life is designed. Though we get attached to happy days, we expect that all days should be happy. But that is not the way life is designed. Okay? For anybody, for everybody. Some happy days, some unhappy days, the drama will continue, will go like that. So things were going smooth in Ayodhya. And Dasharatha thought he has become old. Now it's time for him to go for Vanaprastha life. Now here is a grown-up child, eldest son, who is more capable than he himself was, to occupy that great Ikshvaku throne. If he had no competent successor, he would have thought, he would have delayed. But now here is an individual who is more competent than himself was as a king. Everybody knows that. And so Dasharatha was eager to crown Rama, the Yuvaraja. He wanted to see his son sitting on the throne and how he would rule, and he wanted to experience that Putrotsaha more than what he has experienced till now. So, he has declared it to his people. He conferred with his Guru, Kulaguru, Shambalain, Rajaguru, Vasishtha. They fixed the Muhurta. Everything is being arranged. The next day is coronation. The whole of Ayodhya was in a celebration mode, a great festival, not an ordinary festival. It is the wish of every individual of that city that Rama be crowned the Yuvaraja. Such eagerness actually, they were awaiting that spectacle. So festivities are happening in the city of Ayodhya, everywhere. Flower garlands, they decorated their homes, they hoisted flags, they festooned important places. All people put on the new clothes. So everything, a joyous celebration, how we celebrate a festival. People started coming from other villages to witness the coronation of Rama. From other interior parts of Kosala. So now, this old hunchback, Manthara, she looked at the celebrations from the terrace of Mother Kaikeyi's palace. She looked at all that. She knew what the celebration was about. But still, she came down and she saw a maid running there. And she asked, what all this celebration is about? And the maid said, don't you know? Rama will be coronated tomorrow. And the people are celebrating this festival. And then, evil, because she is a symbol of evil spirit, not only crooked in her body, crooked in her intellect as well. That's what Mother Kaikeyi herself says to her. She comes down from the terrace and enters into the chamber of Mother Kaikeyi. Mother Kaikeyi is relaxing on her cot nicely, and she is also happy. And now she announces to her, only you could be asleep when doom is so near you. Blind queen, get up, get up. A foolish lady, doom is going to fall on you. A great danger actually is awaiting you. Now you're relaxing like this. You're such a foolish woman. Get up, raise, she said. And she said, if you don't wake up now, you're lost forever. So you think actually Dasharatha loves you so intensely, but all that love is a kind of pretense. The love of kings is short-lived, like summer streams. We see summer streams, they don't flow continuously. Water is there and simply it disappears. Like that, the love of Dasharatha also for you. It's not such a great love, but don't get deceived by that, she is telling. Your husband means to crown Rama tomorrow. You are a simple woman, innocent like a child. These are all the words of Manthara to Kaikeyi, because she has to poison her mind now, she has to play her role now. So, Kaikeyi, in fact, she is a simple lady, innocent as a child. Only simple people you can influence. People who are strong-willed, who have got their own judgment, who have their individuality, strong individuality. You will not be able to influence them easily. Mother Kaikeyi is a good-natured woman. She loved Rama as much as Kausalya loved him. She is not a wicked lady, but because now she has come into the company of this Manthara, and whom she thought actually her well-wisher, and paid attention to her, whatever she wanted to say, and lent her ear to her, this wicked woman, and she could successfully color the mind of Mother Kaikeyi. So she said, the king deceives you with honeyed words, and best of the things always he reserves for Kausalya. Cunningly he banished Bharata to Kaikeyi, so that there will not be any opposition for Rama's investiture ceremony. Tomorrow Rama is being crowned. He doesn't want any opposition. He doesn't want anybody to protest against that. Why does Bharata would protest? Bharata also would be happy. But this is, she is sowing the seeds of poison slowly into the minds of Mother Kaikeyi. Cunningly he sent away your son so that there would not be any opposition. You don't understand all these things because you are a simple woman. You are simple like a child. You don't understand all these intricacies. Mother Kaikeyi is being told like that by Manthara. So when she said this, Mother Kaikeyi heard only one thing. Tomorrow Rama is being crowned, the Yuvaraja of Ayodhya. That only she heard. She was so happy, so joyous after hearing this news that my son, my beloved son, is being crowned, the king. And it's a happy news for her. And she said, yes, that's great. You have brought such a great news for me. Then Manthara started again. Oh, foolish lady, you don't understand that also. You are so simple. I have not given you good news. It should be such a bad news for you. How it is a bad news, you see? Don't you see, it is Kausalya whom actually Dasratha loved. While he always uses only to indulge his old body. But you think that actually he genuinely loves you. Otherwise, why should he coronate Rama? And Kaikeyi is simply thinking, why Rama only should be coronated? Because he is the eldest son of Dasratha. She had logic, perfect logic. And also she said, Rama actually is the prince of Dharma. He is a noble prince, not an ordinary human being. And also he loves all his brothers equally. If he becomes the king of Ayodhya, it is as good as all the four brothers have become the kings. And also, after ruling for 100 years, he will give the kingdom to Bharata. Because he is the eldest son, he deserves the crown. He alone has to be coronated. So you have given such good news. What is the problem? But now actually the Manthara doesn't leave her there. So you don't understand. Once Rama becomes the king, what he does? He will either banish Bharata or he will kill him. So first sign of fear. The fear actually is the greatest enemy of human beings. Fear defeats more people than anything else in the world. That's why it's such a debilitating and negative emotion. Swamiji condemns it in the strongest terms. But how to get rid of fear? Only renunciation is the way. If you want to become totally fearless, you have to have renunciation, absolute detachment, and understanding that it's all just drama. There's nothing you need to take it seriously in this life. When you have that understanding, then you will not have any occasion to fear anything. And naturally, Manthara knows that every mother is attached to her son, right? Now she is saying that your son's life is a threat. Rama being powerful, once he sits on the throne, he will see who could be his potential enemy. That is the way of the kings throughout the ages. She is saying now. So what he does, he will banish your son, or otherwise he will kill him. He will keep Lakshmana by his side because Lakshmana loves Rama so much and Lakshmana always wants to be Rama's servant. He won't see a potential threat in Lakshmana, but he will see a potential threat to his throne from Bharata. And so, inform Bharata not to come, let him stay in Kaikeyi itself. It's not safe for him to come to Ayodhya. This is what she says to him. See, and also, what you have done all these years, because you are pampered so much by King Dasharatha, your pride, you have humiliated, you have insulted Mother Kausalya so many times. She bore all that and patiently, and now she will await for revenge. Once her son becomes the king, now she will think it is now my turn to take revenge. And she will take revenge in such a way that you will have to become her maid, her servant. Two actually the weaknesses, generally. When our co-wives are there, when if you tell that you will have to become the servant of that co-wife, that is like death for any woman. They prefer to die than to become the dasi of a co-wife. It doesn't happen. It's very difficult and very painful for them. Two things she said. Your son's life is a threat. And the second thing is, you will become the dasi of Mother Kausalya. She will take revenge. Mother Kausalya, what is her character, Kaikeyi knows. But when Manthara told that would be the future happening, it is likely to happen. You have to foresee things. Sometimes you don't understand things because you're too naive, you're so simple. You can't look into the future, you can't foresee. But I am able to foresee things clearly. What is going to be your fate and what is the fate of your son. Your son will be either banished or killed by Rama, and your condition will be, you will be the slave of Mother Kausalya. In the beginning, Mother Kaikeyi, she didn't believe Mantra's words. She resisted, she argued a little. But she went on telling the same thing again and again. And because, human weaknesses will be there, she ultimately surrendered, said that this lady is my well-wisher. Sometimes we think actually somebody comes to us and advises and poses themselves as well-wishers. If we are simple, if you don't have our own judgment, if you don't have strong individuality to judge the other person, the wrong person we think is our well-wisher, we lend our ear to that individual and he poisons and colors our mind. And ultimately in the end we understand that person actually is not our well-wisher. Maybe with good intention only the person had given the advice, but the advice was wrong. The advice actually put us in deep trouble, we understand afterwards. But Mother Kaikeyi now, he thought actually this mantra, because actually mantra saw her from, a childhood. Okay, in that palace only she stays all the time and she has come along with her from Kekaya. And so she trusted mantra. She believed mantra's words. He thought actually this mantra is my well-wisher. She always seeks my welfare. Why should I not listen to her? And then she asks, what shall I do now? What is the way out? And then mantra says, do you remember that long back Dasharatha had given you 2 boons? Okay. Manthara remembered those boons. Kaikeyi didn't remember. She reminds her of the boons that Dasharatha had promised to her long ago when Dasharatha was young. Devas asked for his help to kill the demon Shambara. And Dasharatha goes along with the army. When the fight was going on intensely, the Shambara shot so many arrows, and arrow after arrow. Dasharatha found it difficult at one point of time to resist that. And some of the arrows hit him and he fell unconscious. Mother Kaikeyi also he had taken along with him to the battle, and she rescued him. She took him in his hands and brought him to the tent and nursed him back to life. Otherwise, Dasharatha might have passed away of his wounds, of the arrows. But now, Dasharatha was so pleased, because of you, I could save my life. I want to confer 2 boons on you. Seek the boons. Whatever you want, I will give. And Mother Kaikeyi said that at that time. Now I don't need anything. I could save your life. You have come back to life. That itself is a great thing. In course of time, if I need anything, I will seek these 2 boons from you. So Dasratha forgot, and Mother Kaikeyi also forgot. When Mother Kaikeyi came to the palace, she told the entire story, what happened in the battlefield, to Manthara. And she remembered the things. Now she reminds Mother Kaikeyi of the boons that Dasratha had promised long back. So those boons actually you can seek now. What should I seek? She told. Ask Bharata to be coronated in place of Rama and seek the banishment of Rama for 14 years. Manthara says to Kaikeyi. And now, how to act that Rama? And she directs her. You go to the chamber of anger, Kopa Gruha. Dasratha comes in search of you. Where is Kaikeyi? You won't find you here in the palace. You are in Kopa Gruha. Your Dasi's maids will tell him. You will come there. And how you have to act, all things she tells. You have to wear a soiled cloth. You should be with a disheveled hair. You should not wear flowers. Flowers and ornaments you should flung on the ground. And you should sit on the ground. Okay. All the things actually she tells. So how to act? So Mother Kaikeyi goes to Kopa Gruha, the chamber of anger. Dasratha comes, she is not there in the palace. She asks the maids where she has gone. She is there in Kopa Gruha, chamber of anger, and Dasratha rushes to that place. What happened? Why she is there? And he sees Mother Kaikeyi there in a different form altogether. So he asks her, what happened? What has befallen you? Who has hurt you? I will have his head. Dasratha says that. If anybody has hurt you, I will have that individual's head. I will kill that individual. So my life is made up of your smiles. It is you who brought me some joy into my life. So I am ready to make any sacrifice for you. You tell me who has hurt you. Mother Dasratha is telling this to Mother Kaikeyi. She says, no one has hurt me, but there is something I want, like my very life. And only you can give it that to me. There is something I like as my own life, and that you alone give me that. And the king smiled in relief. He thought actually she is serious for a really serious reason. He thought actually she would seek some trivial things. Palace, treasury is there. All the jewels are there. Horses are there. Maids are there. Dasratha is the king of the country. So many things are there. What she would ask more than that? She might ask for saree, she might ask for jewels, she might ask for something of that kind. Anything he can give, right? So confidently he promises, seek. And I swear on the life of Rama, now Dasratha is telling, I swear on the life of Rama, whatever you ask, I will give. Just ask me quickly and save me from this torment. I can't bear this kind of atmosphere. You are sulken, okay? This kind of angry face, this kind of angry mood, you need not be. Okay? Whatever you seek, I will give you. I swear on the life of Rama. Now, these words acted as a balm for Mother Kaikeyi. And now she uncoiled herself like a cobra. Before that, she coiled herself like a cobra. Now she uncoiled herself. Now she has become the uncoiled cobra. And she came back. She sat. She was rolling on the ground, and now she sat. And she said, okay, but Dasratha first time looked into her eyes. He saw madness there. He could sense that some evil spirit possessed her, but he doesn't know what it is. And now Mother Kaikeyi is saying, let Indra and other gods be my witnesses. Let the sun and the moon be my witnesses. Here Dasratha said that he will give me whatever I want. And also he has promised on the life of Rama that he would give me whatever I ask for. And now again he tells him, you go back. He takes him back into the history. And what he had promised then during that battle with Sambarasura. And Dasratha remembers. He was remembered. He was forced to remember. And again actually Dasratha, yes, I have given those boons. You seek whatever you want. He thought actually she would seek something ordinary. So, but she says that if you go back on your promise, or if you break your word to me tonight, I will kill myself. She was very firm. Okay? You say that you have given me the boons, and I am going to seek those boons, and you shall not go back on your word. If you go back on your word, I will kill myself tonight itself. She wants to ensure that he will not go back on his word. Of course, it's not possible. Dakshata, after all, was the Ikshvaku king. She knows that also. So now he asks actually, can they seek? I have said you can have whatever. The says, I have said you can have whatever. Have I gone back on my promise to you or anybody else? I have never gone back on my promise. If I promise something, I give. Have I gone back on my oath at any time? Never. So why you doubt? Ask whatever you want. Then she says, yes. You have prepared Ayodhya for coronation of Rama tomorrow. Now she is seeking a boons. The two boons I ask for are, with all the preparations that you have made for Rama's coronation, you have to coronate my son Bharata, and Rama should go to forest for 14 years. Abhisheka samarambho ragavasyopakalpitaha anainaiva abhishekena bharato me abhishicyatham. Abhisheka samarambho, whatever the arrangements that you have made, whatever the ingredients, what are the materials that you have gathered. Coronation is not a simple ceremony. It's a very complex ritual. All the purohits, all the Veda Pandits would be there chanting, because the king, a lifetime king, how many years, a full lifetime he would rule. So what kind of rule he will extend for his people? So many factors. That's why without invoking the blessings of the divine, they would not coronate any king in those days. It's a great ceremony, very big ceremony. Anenaiva abhishekena bharato me abhishicyatham. With all the materials and ingredients that you have collected and gathered for the investiture of Rama, you have to coronate, crown my son Bharata. These are all my two wishes. And second wish, she says, first wish is Navapanchacha varshani dandakaranyamastritaha chirajana jatadhari ramo bhavatu tapasaha. This is her second boon. Navapanchacha varshani, Nava is 9, Pancha is 5, 9 plus 5, 14 years. Navapanchacha varshani dandakaranyamastritaha. He has to spend 14 years in the forest Dandaka, Vana. How he has to spend? Chirajana jatadhari. He has to wear phloem, tree bark, and deer skin. Chirajana jatadhari. And he has to keep matted locks. He should not comb his hair. Not only going to the forest, how he has to spend his life in the forest. Those things also she is telling. Chirajana jatadhari. Ramo bhavata tapasaha. Rama has to become an ascetic, a recluse, a monk. But of course, it's all, for the ultimately good of everybody. She just played her role, Mother Kaikeyi. So we need not see Mother Kaikeyi and Mantra also as villains. They had to play their role. Otherwise, Rama would not come to the forest. Those sages actually have been meditating on Rama for years together to have a glimpse of him. If all his years, if all his life, if he spends in palace itself, for the sake of people of Kosala or Ayodhya, when actually they will be redeemed. They have been meditating. In fact, Rama had incarnated for their sake, not to become king and enjoy the kingdom. It is for their sake, because they have been praying to have a glimpse of the Lord. Now Lord incarnated in human form. The rishis had come to know of that, and they were eagerly waiting for his arrival there in the forest. And also they were troubled by these demons, and they were seeking some relief. As the king of the country, it was his duty to provide that relief to them. What he should do? He should kill those demons. That was actually the wish of all the sages. So how Rama would go out of the palace? Some things have to happen. That's why the drama has to happen. He has to come to the forest. That's why she sought. So it's all for the good of those sages and ultimately for the good of the whole mankind. He came for a purpose, right? In incarnation means so many things. In Krishna's incarnation also, the Gopikas thought, actually all the Vrindavan cowherds thought that Krishna would be with them forever, for the entire life. But suddenly in teenage Krishna disappears. First to Mathura, and then he goes to Hastinapur, then ultimately to Dwaraka. Where he had to do so many roles, so many acts he had to perform, so many responsibilities in that own life. So it would not be possible for any incarnation to be with only one particular group of people. Here also the same thing had happened. Navapanchacha varshani dandakaranyamastritaha chirajana jatadhari ramo bhavata tapasaha. Rama was more than happy, in fact, That moment he might not be that happy. But Ramo Bhavata Tapasaha, to become an ascetic. Already he was an ascetic. Because this Yoga Vashishta happens before this Ramayana happened. You know? And first is Varangi Prakaranam. Rama was full of dispassion. He never cared for this palace comforts. He never cared for kingdom. He never cared for power. He only wanted to get immersed in the bliss of Samadhi. Any spiritual mystic, any spiritual person would prefer to have that life only. Swamiji, when Sri Ramakrishna asked him actually, what is your desire? Swamiji said, I just want to get immersed in meditation and I want to have Samadhi and I just want to enjoy that bliss of Samadhi, bliss of Nirvana. So that would be the natural desire because that is the highest state of mind, that is the highest state of peace, that is also immortality, where totally detached from the body and mind. Every yogi, every rishi would only long for that kind of experience. So these are the boons that she sought from Dasratha. This has to be done. So this today itself he must go. Adya chaiva paishyam prayantam raghavam vanam. I want to see Rama going to the forest today itself. It is very exacting. Okay, but other things have to happen. Rama has not been informed of this, right? Anything about this. Now you just have to see Dasratha's emotions after she sought her boons. The way sage Valmiki depicted the emotions of Dasratha, so beautiful. Some few hundred slokas actually used to describe the emotions of Dasratha. And he portrayed the emotion in such a way, practically the sage tried to capture the emotion in words. That's why I said the superhuman genius. When you read that Ramayana, every sloka, how actually Dasratha convulsed, what kind of anguish, what kind of pain he experienced in his heart, what are his outbursts, how actually he poured out, his anguish, his anger, his sorrow, so graphically depicted. It's not possible to, cover all that here, but you just let us look at it in brief. So, he just pressed his eyes. Is it real or is it a dream, Dasratha? What I heard now, is it real or is it surreal or is it a dream? He's thinking. Because, am I dreaming or I have lost my mind? Because he's so intensely attached to Rama. Something which he could not even imagine his dream, separation from Rama, that would be impossible for Dasratha because he loved him more than he loved his own life. Now actually he got caught in the midst of a triangle kind of thing. One side is affection for Rama, one side the stubborn and adamant Mother Kaikeyi, one side the prestige of Ikshvaku lineage. You can't go back on your promise. You can't break your word once you come here as Ikshvaku king. Nobody who lived before, who occupied the throne before Dasratha, had ever gone back on their word, and he also cannot break his word. You are born in Ikshvaku lineage means, for them, for people born in that lineage, reneging on their promise is worse than death. So they would prefer to die than actually breaking the word. So Dasratha also like that. Now actually you just see the torment that he might have experienced because of all this. One side is intense affection, attachment for Rama. One side the prestige of the lineage, he can't go back on word. And one side this adamant Mother Kaikeyi. Then he stood bemused looking at his wife in disbelief. Is it the same Kaikeyi? So simple and so naive. Is she seeking these boons? Is it real? Is this a dream? He looked at her, but the way she looked at him, the baleful looks in her eyes when he looked at, he understood that she meant whatever she said. She was not joking. She meant whatever she said. Now, up to till now it is sorrow. Now it turned into anger. He says, Dustachari, 3a, Kulasyasya vinasini, Vyali Tikshna Vishayatha. Kulasyasya vinasini, you have come actually to destroy this great clan. Dushta Charitre, your evil woman is saying that. The cruelest woman in the world, he said, out of anger. You are evil spirit. And you are like a snake, full of poison. Not knowing that actually I embrace you, and now actually you are biting at me. Serpent, he says, what wrong Rama has done to you? How he has wronged you? Why you have developed such animosity for Rama? He loved you as much as he loved his mother Kausalya. Why you are punishing him? Dasratha couldn't figure out. Who has poisoned your mind? A month ago you said that Dasratha is not only your elder son, he is also my elder son. You said this. Dasratha was reminding to her what she said a month ago. And who has poisoned your mind now? How come that you have changed so much? Is it the same Kaikeyi? He was telling her. And he made all kinds of requests to her, but she was unyielding. She did not relent. And he says, Apite charanam urdhva sprusami esha prasida me. Sprusami esha prasida me. I will touch your feet, O Kaikeyi. Please don't seek these boons. It's impossible for me to live without Rama. But she won't. She was unrelenting. So, and she said, you want to coronate Rama and enjoy life with Kausalya? I can't bear to see the sight even for a day. She was so firm. I can't bear to see the sight even for a day. You want to coronate Rama and you want to enjoy life with Kausalya? No. If you coronate Rama, I will commit suicide by drinking this poison. She showed him the poisonous vial also. This is what I am going to do. If you go back on your word. And then Dasratha had no option. So he mumbled Rama's words, Rama, Rama, little. So weak he became. So then he said, you are not my Kaikeyi. Some evil fiend possessed you. So whoever you may be, he said, this is a different Kaikeyi. But what Kaikeyi he saw before, Dasratha, and she is seeing a different Kaikeyi, completely changed. Is it ever possible for a human being to change so suddenly and in such a short span of time, completely different personality? He thought actually some ghost or devil possessed her. Somebody else is speaking through her. Dasratha's guess was right because his mother mantra completely turned her mind, completely poisoned her mind, right? A new spirit took over her as it were. And he said, is it the same Kaikeyi? So whoever you may be, he was now addressing not the Kaikeyi, but the ghost or the evil spirit that possessed Kaikeyi. Whoever you may be, but you need to understand that Bharata will not actually bear to see Rama vanish from this kingdom. Your desire is not going to be fulfilled. And then actually he is saying to himself, he is saying to Kaikeyi, says, what will I tell these people? The people are there outside the palace now. They are eagerly waiting for the investiture of Rama. What will I tell them? How can I explain them? You promised Rama to coronate, you that he would be coronated tomorrow, and now you are banishing him to the forest. What sin he has committed? What wrong he committed? They will ask me. What explanation I have to give? I will be able to give them. And how I will answer Mother Kausalya? All these days I have not loved her because I am so possessed by you. And what shall I say to her? Because her son after all I am banishing now. And what shall I say to the tender daughter-in-law, Sita? How she will be able to bear this pain? With all the drama is going on. Dasratha is saying. He is saying, Anjalim kurmi Kaikeyi, I will actually join my palms. Pado chapis pusamite. Again he is saying, sometimes he is scolding her. He is saying, the dushta charitre, you are evil one, you are a monster, you are a wicked one. He is scolding her, and again actually he is praising her. And he says, I will touch your feet. Relent. I will touch your feet. This is, I can't bear. He said, monster, you mean to ruin my family totally? And after all of us are dead, you want to rule the kingdom along with your son. That is your desire? No. So probably these are my past sins now actually have come to fruition. I don't know how come that actually I am experiencing so much of torture now. This is such a great punishment, which he has never imagined. I have not done any sin in this life. Dasratha actually looking back into his own life, his own deeds in this particular birth. Have I committed any sinful acts to deserve this kind of punishment, this kind of pain, this kind of anguish, this kind of sorrow? But no, he couldn't see. I have not committed any sin. Probably some past birth sins. Okay, I am paying for them now. Probably it could be that. Then he says, demon, listen to me. O evil one, O demon, O Rakshasi, listen to me. He is telling, he is addressing Mother Kaikeyi. What he is saying, the sun may not shine hereafter. Indra may stop rains, the still world may continue. The world may continue without the sun, the world may continue without rains, but life will not stay in this body of Dashratha without Rama. He's telling it. I am so attached to Rama, I am so fond of Rama, without Rama my life won't exist. That means you are killing me, is it okay? I am not going to live without Rama. So, but relent Kaikeyi, still some time is there, relent, at least now you relent. Because tomorrow actually, the night actually is slowly slipping away, time is rolling, so relent, still some time is there. So all his importunities fell on deaf ears. Mother Kaikeyi was as adamant as she was in the beginning. He begged her again and again that she didn't relent. Perhaps that night may be the longest night for Dasratha. Perhaps that may be the longest night he had experienced in his lifetime. You just imagine his emotions. He doesn't want actually the day to break, because if the day breaks, you have to ask Rama to go to the forest. That would be very difficult for him. At the same time, it is difficult to spend the night, because anyway the day is going to break. He prayed to the sun, come quickly arise, so that I don't have to spend my time with this she-demon. She now sees Mother Kaikeyi as a demon, and her presence actually is so unbearing, so oppressive, unbearable for him. But that night actually time was ticking, but very slowly for him. And sometimes he thought actually, let me share this grief with Mother Kausalya and also Sumitra, but actually he desisted from that. At least let them sleep happily, because this is the last night for them, last happy night for them. Tomorrow onwards, when the news is broken to them, they can't sleep happily hereafter. At least those who love me and those who love Rama, at least let them sleep happily for tonight. Anyway, from tomorrow onwards, they cannot have, good sleep. Whole Ayodhya is going to, be immersed in grief. That Dasratha knows that. That's why he actually, that night actually, nearly Kalaratri for him. The terrible night. Terrible agony and terrible anguish actually. So, and again actually, Mother Kaikeyi said, don't bring shame on yourself, Dasratha, by breaking your sacred word. Preserve the honor of this Ikshvaku lineage. Don't be the first king to break your word. And Dasratha whispered, let Rama be prepared to perform tarpana for me with the waters reserved for his coronation. With water reserved for his coronation, let Rama use that water for my tarpana. That what he is saying is, I am dead. I am as good as dead. So, these are all the emotions that actually Dasratha had experienced. Now, how actually our hero Rama reacted to the entire situation, what happened hereafter. So there actually the Muhurta is drawing nearer. Vashishta came along with his disciples, but Dasratha was not to be seen. The day broke. Nowhere Dasratha was there. Then Vashishta sent Sumanta, his charioteer, Dasratha's charioteer, go and fetch the king. So it's time for coronation. The Muhurta is drawing nearer. So as Sumantra was going to the palace, people actually were cheering him up because, they are all in celebratory mood. And Sumantra had gone there and he saw Dasratha grief-stricken. Tears were rolling down his cheeks. What happened? Sumantra asked actually. He says that sage Vashishta Maharshi wants the king there for the investiture ceremony. What happened? He asked. Mother Kaikeyi says nothing has happened. Okay? He did not sleep last night. That much only happened. Nothing has happened. He wants to speak something in private with Rama. So fetch Rama here. Okay? Oh Sumantra, you have come here. Now go and bring Rama in the same chariot to this place. He will tell something in private to Rama. So we shall close today's talk here. So next week, how did Rama respond to this very critical and difficult situation? How he would respond placed in similar circumstances. From that, we would understand the character beauty of Rama. Is it ever possible for a human being to react the way Rama had reacted in such a situation? Why he has become such a great hero all these years? Because of that extraordinary response and extraordinary reaction, extraordinary way he reacted to such a difficult situation. Because he had total detachment, he understood that it's all drama and everybody is playing helplessly to the role that has been given to them by the divine director, the Almighty Providence. So you could react in such a way. It would be a surprise for any ordinary human being. So we shall continue the remaining story in the next class. We shall meditate for a few minutes before we disperse.
Om.